Alright, it's 9:35 a.m. I have some interest in buying AMTX, maybe around here. Just the fact that it might be able to hold pre-market highs, but I don't like how laggy E-Trade Pro is currently, and that's kind of throwing me off. I have a brand new computer that is on the living room table. I could probably just migrate files to that computer and start running off of it now, but E-Trade Pro is very laggy. It just seems like a pre-market support hold breakout in the 740s. Lots of support. I guess not too close, but it could be worse. Could try to break out here. The only thing I didn't like is that there were also a lot of people on the ask and dumping on the bid, so it's gonna have to fight through that. Not the best long-term chart, but it's not very not much volume traded these days. 10-year chart, by the way. Looking at a 1-year chart, it just broke out of a nice range, so it could be a short squeeze. Okay, just a small update. I'd be selling already, even if it does break out. I just don't like how it made the candle just downtrended slightly below here. It seems to be trading all jumpy now. I don't know if it's because E-Trade Pro was lagging. I already restarted E-Trade Pro. It actually did help a little, but it's still laggy. But it definitely looks like it's trading as if it had a large spread. I see a small spread, but nothing crazy. I would already be selling here just because of the fact the candle made a new low, even if it's just by a penny. As you can tell, it's making an even bigger low. I would already be out of this setup. It wouldn't be such a bad setup, and it can still break out. It could definitely still break out now if it wants to be considered as a double bottom with 2 wicks right there. I just want to be in it myself already, just because it's not doing it the way I'd want it to be doing. I only have 1 day trade available. OEG, no way I would have bought this making a lower low. I'm just going to have to consider looking at it. I guess I could consider shorting, but I'd rather be going long. GME is doing a nice downtrend, had a halt right here, so we're going to see what happens with this stock. Again, it's just really the watch. It's not something to really trade. Already did a nice range breakout here at 46 the other day, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, just a big short squeeze with that stock. I'll make an update and see if this guy breaks out. And I'm looking at the OTCs. Maybe I missed out. Oh, there's one. ALPP might be breaking out. It might be breaking out the range here at 74, or at least it's very close to it. This wouldn't be such a bad buy because it's breaking out, completely over the range here. And the most important part is that it might break out this range here. It might. It doesn't have to. This wouldn't be such a bad watch. Could also be a very beautiful double top. I don't see anything else that's playing near the range I saved, except for PLYZ. Looks like it might have broken out of the range. Right here, probably broke. I don't know what range I based it off of. Probably this range right here. It's not too significant. I mean, it's up 30%. Not as nice as ALPP. Of course, it could also make just a beautiful double top, but it could definitely run. I don't like the level 2. ALPP, I remember this stock having a lot of people on the ask consistently. Yeah, I'll just have to keep looking for now. ALPP could be a nice breakout range over here. Maybe if it does a confirmed breakout, I'll be more interested in buying. E-Trade Pro is lagging like crap. Let's try SPY just to compare. Seems to not be trading so badly here. Not as fluid and clear, but yeah, ALPP right at the previous highs. Very impressive. I'm gonna have to keep looking. Alright, it is 9:46. Somewhat considering to call it off early just to set up a new computer and migrate all the files over, but and also just because E-Trade Pro's lagging, I think a new computer might fix it. I honestly don't know. It could just be a slow E-Trade Pro session. I had 16 gigs of RAM, but one of the RAM sticks are going bad, and now the other one is too. The hard drive is 6 years old. Sure, I could just change the hard drive, get a SSD, but you know, it could be the RAM too. I have a direct connection, Ethernet cable to the router. CPU is constantly at 26% usage. Probably with all the OTC stocks I have. AMTX, yeah, just spaghetti monster. I wouldn't, you know, I would have already been out because it didn't do it the way I wanted to, and I don't think anybody would want to be long that. OEG again, lower low, don't want to trade that. Don't really want to short this stock. I could short it, you know, risk off of $7, but why would I don't think I would do that. GME just a crazy mess. ALPP might actually, you know, try to hold this breakout level, let's say in the 80s. That would be impressive, but I don't know. For a quick moment, I wanted to consider going long, but then it did this big red candle here, and it's just the bid and ask didn't look as good as it was back then after that candle was formed. The only stock doing a number 5, at least that I noticed, is ASTI, but I wouldn't have went long this stock because this one is already fading. This isn't really something to do a number 5 setup with, although it looks like it might if these wicks are real and not misprints. Let's see, 3-day chart. I mean, it looks like it can do number 5s, but you know, it's just fading. It's not really, first of all, if it is doing a number 5, it's not the first time. It's just looking bad on the, you know, multi-day chart, so that's why I'm not really going to consider going number 5 on this setup, although it could very well do it. ALPP seems to be there, but volume isn't that strong. I don't know. It looks like something very interesting. OEG broke out of this range just right now. That's pretty impressive. Again, didn't really want to go long that stock. Didn't have the insight to go short this stock. It could have very well have broken out though, so you know, that's not something worth trading. This is impressive, a breakout. Don't want to trade it though. No setups to trade really, just ALPP. If it does a confirmed breakout, like if it runs and then it bounces back here to the 80s and it holds, I'll be considering buying. Other than that, I probably won't buy just because it seems a bit too sketchy. It could be an inexact double top, and that would be pretty bad. So yeah, that's all I got for right now. I'll just keep looking. There are some OTCs running that I had for number 5 setups. Actually, OZSC might be doing one. Already at 10. Is there any support here for 10? No, it's just a nice round number 10. Probably too late for it, but I'll watch this. Yeah, I'll make an update later. I'll keep watching. A lot of potential opportunity with the OTCs that ran up a lot and are now doing a number 5. I'd have to look through each and every single one, and I might miss them, but I don't know. I think I'm closer than ever to a breakout in my trading. Definitely was right getting off of AMTX. Was right not wanting to short OEG. Didn't want to trade this, just wanted to look at it. And ALPP could hold the breakout level in the 80s and do a nice uptrend, but just for risk's sake, although the level 2 looks very nice now, it could be a nice confirmed breakout if that happens. Alright, just a quick update, 9:55 already. AMTX failed again and just starting to bounce again. Nothing really I want to trade. Maybe even a short, a confirmed breakdown short in the 750s, but you know, that's nothing for right now. OEG, don't really want to trade this either. Just doing a nice uptrend, putting up higher lows, which is good. GME, just spaghetti monster, not trading it, just watching it. ALPP failed. again, because it just didn't feel good with me in terms of risk. I would have only bought this if it was a confirmed breakdown. So breakout, not breakdown. If it did a nice spike, you know, maybe higher than it dropped back to the breakout level, that would have been nice. OZSC, Tim actually bought this stock, so that's pretty cool that I am, you know, calling some of his plays, or what I think would be his plays. What I have to do now is get earlier in these plays and then actually trade them, and then trade them well. So I still got a lot of work to do. No true updates right now other than OZSC doing a nice spike from 10 to 13. That's a 30% move, which is pretty good. Yeah, I'll definitely keep looking. Alright, it's 10:03 a.m. AMLM could be a potential number 5. Oh wow, it just wiped out that person on the ask. Let's go ahead and see. This is probably just too late to it, although I would have had to have been very quick on this one. Just a potential number 5. The only thing against it really was that it was only a second day stock. I'm sure it broke out of this range right here. So, you know, it could have definitely not have been as perfect because it was only up 2 days. But other than that, it looks like a potential number 5 is up the most out of all the OTCs, right? Yeah, even with this downtrend, it's the highest percent gainer stock. Could have, in theory, bought at 109. Already in the 20s, that's impressive. I wonder if Tim bought. No. Nobody really mentioned it. I'd probably be selling already here in the 120s because I'm just not used to this, you know, just that much profit that quickly. 20 cents, just like that. I would already be selling here in the 120s. Especially how slow E-Trade Pro seems to be trading sometimes. Yeah, I would definitely be out already. Nice 20% gain right there. That's pretty impressive. 10:04. I'll keep watching things, although I'm going to take things a little slowly just because the computer doesn't seem to be running as well as it could be. Could be the hard drive. It's 6 years old. I have a WD blue from 2014. Could be the hard drive just starting to go out. That could be why it's giving blue screens. The RAM could also be the RAM. Pretty impressive 20% spike right there, and I would have already sold. Yeah, just very quick. Wow. I'm going to have to look back at that. OEG uptrending, nothing I want to trade. Could be continuously, maybe a dip buy in the 7s, but maybe not because it did put a lower high than this range right here. So had this put a higher high than here, I'd probably be interested in buying, risking off a 7, and then seeing if it could spike back and break the, you know, day high potentially, or just show up there. But because it made a lower high, I'm not going to consider it. It could still play out though. AMTX, nothing I want to trade. Sure, it's holding $7, but what? You're going to hold 7 for a little spike? I mean, I don't know. It's putting up lower highs as well, so nothing I really want to trade. GameStop, I'm going to remove this. It's just nothing I can learn off of. It's just crazy. It is fading a little bit, but you know, it's probably best not to look at it. ALPP, nice drop. Again, would have waited for a confirmed breakout. No real level of support, at least on the 14-day chart. Maybe 450 was a level of support. Yeah, it could have been potentially support right there. Not perfect though. Alright, well, I'll just make an update. Maybe no trades today, but that's totally fine. In theory, I could have traded LM. That would have been impressive. Alright, it is 10:15. I had my trade. OEG was a buy. I considered it around here as buying right here, potential buy. But it started to fade. The short sellers started to come in. Big green candle here. I went ahead and bought just because it seemed like it was holding the highs. And then once we got to the 70s, the problem with the 70s is that there was a lot of people on the ask, a lot of people dumping on the bid, although it's looking very nice now. Maybe I could have been a little more patient, but I just did not like the level 2, how strong. Now it's looking beautiful. Wow. Already 70. Still not really cracking the 75 level. But when we got in the 70s, I think in the previous candle, there was way too many people on the ask. There we go. That's a nice breakout. But again, when there were just too many people in the 70s on the ask, I tried holding a little longer, but then I was like, I don't want to hold too long on this. It could also just fail. You know, it might seem kind of silly, but sometimes when you see a nice uptrend like this, an ascending triangle potential setup, you know, you're worried that this big freaking red candle comes out of nowhere like in the last video. So yeah, when I bought it in the low 60s, right? And what time it was, 10:14. Right here, yeah, when I bought here in the dip of this candle, right, still above the highs that it broke out previously, kind of downtrended under it, not the best, but then it had this big green candle. It went ahead and got to the 60s. I went ahead for a dip buy. The next candle, in the same candle that it was in, at 15, which is here, it got to the 70s. Just way too much people on the ask for me to be interested. Dumping on the bid. Was kind of fearing a big red candle like this one or even bigger. Just seemed like somebody could dump a whole bunch of shares on the bid, and that could just be fear. But on top of that, there were just a lot of people on the ask. By the time I started recording this, it looked much better. I should have considered the float, maybe 20 million share float. It's not that low. It's not that high either. But it will mean that it might uptrend slower. Probably should have considered looking at the float. But yeah, it's very nice now in the 780s. You know, I missed out here, but again, it's uptrending very slowly. I thought this was going to be much faster. That's one of the reasons I thought it was going to be much faster. And number two, I saw just too many people on the ask. Again, when I started recording, it looked much better. But at the moment, it was looking bad. Really bad. This is impressive. I'm going to just go ahead and see how far this thing goes. I can't trade anymore today unless I want to jump on Interactive Brokers and trade with that platform, or maybe just trade off their website and use eTrade Pro for charts, which just seems more likely. Already nice in the 780s, but it's just looking iffy. Where's that big volume breakout? Where is that, you know, big green candle? It's where are the shorts being squeezed like crazy? This is all in slow motion. You know, it could still happen, but it hasn't happened yet. There we go. Now we're starting to see some of the volume, but it's still not doing the breakout. I'll make an update later, but this wasn't a bad trade. I mean, it was a scratch. You know, it was still profitable though, because I bought well, and yeah, I made $6. That wasn't my goal. My goal was a big breakout. This is not looking too good, but I mean, if it keeps holding, it could do it later. Just don't see the volatility that would really make this stock a runner. So I'll make an update later, but that was a great trade attempt. It didn't work out. I mean, it did a little bit, but it could have done much more. Okay, it's 10:23 a.m. Feels like a race against time. AMTX. It is a first day. It is a range breakout. Of course, there's going to be resistance in the 750s, but this looks like a potential inverse head and shoulders, already making an uptrend. Where the neckline would be, if it were to drop and make another shoulder, that would be a nice inverse head and shoulders opportunity if it happens. Only problem is that my service, I forgot to renew it, so I literally just bought it right now. And for me to log into Interactive Brokers, I have to, it's two-factor authentication with SMS, so that means, you know, if I don't have service, it can't text me a security code so I can log in. So literally a race against time if the setup plays out. I just restarted my phone. Unfortunately, there's a chance that I might miss the setup if it does make an inverse head and shoulders, just because I'm not prepared in that sense. Maybe I should have already been logged into Interactive Brokers in case this was going to happen. I'm just going to have to keep looking. Maybe it won't form at all, but if it does, and I manage to get logged into Interactive Brokers and it still looks nice when it's happening, I might consider a buy. I'll have to keep looking. Alright, it's 10:29. It looks like it might do a potential inverse head and shoulders. It's kind of like an uptrending shoulder. Okay, if it's gonna do it in just one, if it's just gonna do it with one candle, that's too bad. I'll miss out. But if it puts up a nice wick like these guys right here, that I can risk off of it, I'll be interested in it. Otherwise, it could just do a one candle spike, which I wouldn't be interested in. I already have Interactive Brokers logged in. I'm on the web platform. I'm not using their chart platform, which might be a mistake, but I'll go ahead and see how this thing works. It would just be 100 shares here as well. It could be a nice attempt. But again, if it's just going to do an inverse head and shoulders, which is fine, I mean, I just won't be long in the setup with one candle. I won't be interested in it. I want to risk off of a wick like these right here. Either one could be the shoulder. I'm not going to buy here. This is mid-range. I'd have to wait for that big red candle to risk off of. Alright, it's 10:32 a.m. I have a big wick to risk off of. Really just want to wait and see that this candle holds. If it makes a big green candle and spikes, that's too bad as well. Just want to risk it off of 707 now and just see that this candle holds right here. I still might miss the trade just for being scared or whatever, but you know, so far it seems like it could work out, a potential setup. Alright, a bit of a big spike in this candle, could still, you know, I might miss this, but just a little conflicting. Kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders and the right shoulder of an inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, I might have missed this setup already here. Even if it drops back to the 720, 17s, it's going to make right here a lower high, and that would actually be bearish. So I might have missed this setup right here. This thing could make a very nice spike right now. Just had a big bounce right here. It did make a candle that somewhat held the position. Was considering going long, but then it spiked a little too much here, so I don't want to, you know, trade too much outside of my risk. After all, I'm risking 707 the wick, get long in the 17s. I lose 10 pennies if it doesn't work out, 10 20 pennies on the $7 stock. That's totally fine. But when it had this big uptrend here, I missed it. I don't feel too bad, a little bad, but you know, this could have been my first trade with Interactive Brokers, but I guess it won't, and that's totally fine. I'll just have to maybe be quicker. As soon as I see a wick to risk off of, and then I see a candle that forms and doesn't trade with too much volatility, just kind of holds, shows that it could potentially hold this range, then I can go long immediately the next candle and risk off that level 707. That could have been the setup here. I will make an update. Let's see if it breaks the neckline at 740. It is an uptrending inverse head and shoulders, so this is a very nice inverse head and shoulders that could actually lead to a neckline breaking here in the 740s. Maybe it gets here in the choppiness 750s and 760s, 70s perhaps, and then if it cracks the 70s, that will be a very impressive intraday breakout. So I'll just make an update later in the day to see how that goes. Just because I missed this setup and I do feel just a little salty that I missed it. I will no longer trade just because I don't want to trade with emotion, but I did really well with OEG. I sold very very early, but that was fine because there was a lot of resistance in the 70s, right here, and then it got to the 80s, but again, lots of resistance. It wasn't breaking out, very slow, and it started this uptrend, downtrend. OZSE was a potential number 5. I was just too late when I saw it, didn't want to chase it. It got to the 13s in the first move, then it did it again and again, and it almost, I think it got to the 14s, but this was the most predictable part, and that was a nice setup. AMLM never really did a number 5, although I would have already sold in the 20s just because of the price action. So I did miss AMLM, but I don't feel too bad because that's a relatively new setup, OTCs, although this one was priced much nicer. OZSE was just too late to see that one. ALPP wasn't bad looking at this one, never did a confirmed breakout, so I never bought. OEG tried buying, and I did buy, just so because it didn't work out. Sure, I could have made a little more had I have held a little longer, but it just wasn't trading the way I wanted. The 70s was very strong in terms of the level 2, so on the ask, so I didn't want to get in trouble with that. And again, AMTX, just a very nice inverse head and shoulders. I'll make one more update, just to see what it did eventually, but I'm gonna call it off for right here. Just overall a good trading day because I am getting better with my under trading. Just should have jumped in on the next candle after we had one candle of holding, just to lower the chances that you have the wick here, the next candle, and then if you don't wait for the next candle, you buy the next candle after the big wick is formed, and then it starts downtrending towards the wick, and then it breaks the wick. So that's what that candle is there for. Very nice already now in the 7, touched the 750s. Yeah, I'll make an update later to see how far this thing can go. Just a very good trade with OEG, and I missed this one with AMTX, but all I can do is just keep getting better. This is a nice setup, and it's also a first day stock. I guess the daily chart does have a lot of potential bag holders, but you have to look at the price action. Very impressive, and that's maybe why it had all this jumble mess right here in the in the market open, just people selling out of their positions. Alright, it is 10:42 a.m. AMTX, just very nice. A big freaking huge green candle. Would have totally, had I have been long, I don't know how long I would have held, but had I have still been long, I would have sold into this big green candle right here. Just blew out the range right here. It could keep uptrending, make bull flags, and just continue uptrending, but I would be out in the 8s. That's very impressive. Could have went in long at 716-ish. Yeah, 716 to 8. That's more than 10%. Really worked out because it was an uptrending inverse head and shoulders, so this was higher than here and here. Broke the neckline, more likely to break the neckline just because it is an uptrending inverse head and shoulders. Broke out the intraday high, intraday breakout, big volume right here. Would have definitely sold into here. Maybe somebody who was shorting this stock covered their entire position here. Just a very impressive movement right here. Definitely gonna save a screenshot of this. And yeah, just very impressive. It could do the inverse head and shoulders second higher low setup. Now looking at my screenshots, but I don't see it really doing that. Now in the 830s, that's pretty impressive. I'm gonna update the screenshots. I need to make OEG and change that to the 21st year. Oh, just a very impressive stock. Yeah, I'm going to call it off right here. AMTX missed on the inverse and it shoulder. Should have bought immediately after one candle of consolidation. Risk off the level. Here the wick 707. Did exactly what I wanted. Just forgot about buying the candle after. It does a one candle consolidation. Just to somewhat, again, improve the odds that it's not going to continue downtrending in the shoulder. Yeah, just a beautiful setup here. Totally missed it, but that's totally fine. You know, I just keep getting better at this setup. Definitely. OEG was a nice breakout attempt by ALPP. Didn't have the insight to really dip by it when it failed to break the I don't know if it's all-time, but at least very recent high. Just to look back, it downtrended as low as 450, and there's not really a level of support. Not really. Just a random level it dropped towards, if you ask me. OZSC, number 5, I missed out. Kind of breaking out right here. Could be a potential buy here, although you have resistance right here, the day high. Is it going to break out? I don't know. AMLM, not really doing much, and that's about it. Just no more setups, at least that I think, on the OTC section. Pretty good day. Nice trade attempt again with OEG. Well, I did buy, but and especially AMTX. That was a nice inverse head and shoulders. Alright, yeah, it's gonna call it off right here. I'm gonna probably process and upload this video on YouTube with the new PC. We'll see how fast the encoding is. It's my first computer with a Ryzen. That's my first desktop computer with a Ryzen processor, AMD processor. It's the 3700X. So yeah, just gonna call it off. A pretty good day.